What's up, YouTube? We are back here again with another Yankees evening hot stove new spring training edition, right? I got to figure out the name of this show in the nighttime, but it's your guy Hector yet again hanging out with my compañero tonight. I got my guy Richie Rivera from Empire State of Baseball. Richie, my guy, how are you doing?
How we doing, Hector? Happy Tuesday. This is legit the best part of my Tuesdays. I know it is for you, Hector, and Celso and the crew over at Yankees Morning. How about a little Yankees Evening Brew, Hector? You think about a name. Right. I mean, you're right there. You just swap out the morning for the PM, and we got a show.
Hey, very easy, simple math. Public school education is some of the best education out there in the world. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. I see we got our guy Anthony Garcia, who is in the building. My guy NFE in the strike zone is in the building. Our friend Marsh is in the building. 01LS1Z2ADABX. How you doing? Jacob Petruzzi is in the building. Michaelino is in the building. Our guy Frederick is in the building. El Veteran, appreciate you for your service. L.I. Yankee King is in the building. And my guy, Blood of the Panther, the top moderators of all the moderators, is in the building. I want to start off by saying, I know this is a Yankee show, right? But this weekend, Morning Brew Sports, a lot of you guys that are in the chat that follow us when we cover the Yankees and the Knicks, you guys helped us out tremendously. If you guys didn't know, this past Friday on the Knicks Morning Brew, we had Monica McNutt from the MSG Network. She covers the Knicks for MSG. She does the radio broadcast on ESPN Radio, and she's an analyst as well for ESPN. She came on the show on Friday. Saturday, Knicks versus Celtics. We did a big watch party right down the block with our guy Tone from the Knicks Twitter. He set it up, Twitter Space, and Monica McNutt came through in the middle of our show. Our pregame, Knicks fans lost their minds. And then we went to the SNY Sunday. Sunday, we was rocking out SNY with my guy Dexter Henry. And then we went to the game yesterday, Monday night, met up with Jerry Ferrara. It was amazing. And that's just part one, because the second part of the weekend is happening this weekend when we fly down to Tampa for Yankee spring training. And I want to shout out Blood of the Panther because he was there last night. Appreciate you, Blood, and appreciate everybody that showed up. So with that being said, like I said, we will be down in Tampa for Yankee spring training. If there are any Yankee fans that will be in spring training, please let us know. We just got hit up today by a sales rep from the Yankees. So we got an exclusive package when it comes to getting some tickets and getting to a nice game down there at spring training. We just need people in the community that want to come. So I know this is a little last minute, but like I said, that sales rep, they hit us up earlier today. So if I have about 5 to 10 people from the community, all we need is 10 people to show up. If you guys are interested, reach out to me on all social media platforms and we will get the ball rolling with that. But Richie Rivera, my guy, I want to throw it over to you. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Spring training exhibition games are back. We are getting that much closer to not only baseball season, but just better weather. We're living here in the Northeast, so obviously we've had enough of this cold. And today was like, it went up to 60. There's rain going on. I've had enough of this unpredictable weather. We got to get to the end of March for that March 28th game against the Astros. I know that's on the road, but when the Yankees come back home, hopefully we're looking at some nicer weather here on the Northeast as well. But Hector, I couldn't be more excited. And shout out to that Yankee sales rep, reaching out to not only Hector, but one of the best communities of all the baseball communities right here and Yankees Morning/Evening Brew.
Yeah, absolutely, Richie. But let's get into the first topic for today's episode. And we're going to talk about the propaganda that's been circling around on all social media platforms. And it sucks because it's like, Yankees, we can't even have a good 48 hours before Met fans start losing their minds. But Rich, what is the obsession with Met fans and Juan Soto? Shout out to my guy Keith McPherson from WFAN. He put it out there. The fanning over someone that's currently in pinstripes. It's enough. Don't you have enough former Yankees on your squad? And I got to agree with him. It is mind-blowing the amount of notifications that I've been getting on social media. The AI machine is working overtime because the photoshops with Juan Soto in a Met uniform is driving me crazy. Yankee fans in the chat, let me know. I'm gonna throw it over to you, Rich, for the first topic. How you feeling with all this nonsense?
Listen, I think it's a select member, it's a select portion of the Mets community. I don't want to throw the entire Mets community on the bus because I am friends to a lot of Mets fans. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, two of my co-hosts are Mets fans, more of the more sensible, analytical Mets fans that also are, hoping that Juan Soto ends up in Queens. And can you blame him? Listen, when you have Steve Cohen and all his money, and with a lot of money, the Mets come off the books. Yeah, Juan Soto is an easy name to look at as first on the priority list for this team. Yeah, there's a bunch of fans that are trolling Yankee fans right now. Guys, let's just let them troll. Let them do their thing. I mean, I'm talking about that select group of fans because I know there are a lot of fans out there who are hoping for Soto and they just want to see their team do some great things in 2024. They have a lot of top prospects knocking on the door. They have their own star player in-house that's about to walk. That could be an issue. Like, this is going to be a subject of controversy for the Mets for this coming season. And so there are a lot of Mets fans who have a sense of thinking that are focused in on what they're doing with Pete Alonso than what their hope is to bring in Juan Soto to the New York Metropolitans. I've been pretty vocal about the whole thing. I'm 50-50 on if Juan Soto returns here. And I think when it comes to any team being the top competitor for Soto's sweepstakes, it's going to be the Mets. It's going to be Steve Cohen. So let them have their fun. Let's ignore the social media, though, when it comes to the Mets community.
Yeah, like you said, and I think you keyed it perfectly when you said the troll job that a portion of the Met fandom is doing right now. When it comes down to it, Juan Soto, like somebody put it in the chat, shout out my guy Donnie Clark in the chat, says Juan Soto, he's going to be a Yankee. He was born to be a Yankee, right? When you look at him with the pinstripes, with the pictures that's been coming out over the weekend, him joking and laughing and and hitting a home run for the Yankees right here, 13 years, $650 million. There's never been, besides Robinson Cano, there's not that many guys that the Yankees wanted to keep that they lost to another team. When Andy Pettitte left to the Houston Astros, he went back home. Obviously, there's some rumors that happened between him and George Steinbrenner. Keyword on it is the rumors, but he came back to the Yankees later on in his career. Besides Cano, I can't really name a superstar player that was in his prime that left the Yankees for another team. I just don't see it. When it comes down to the player that the Yankees want to keep, even the guy that the Yankees and free agency want to get, 9 times out of 10, if they set their sights in that on that player, they get him. They did it with Garrett Cole. They tried to draft Garrett Cole out of high school. That ain't work out. He came back into the league. He was with the Pirates. They were close to trading for him. They didn't want to give up that many prospects. He became a free agent. They locked in on him. He became their guy. It was the same thing with Juan Soto. They wanted to get him years ago. Price was just a bit too much. They keyed on him this offseason, and they got their guy. Yes, you got to be scared because Steve Cohen does have that big pocketbook. He can spend with the best of them, Rich. But at the end of the day, Hal Steinbrenner, I feel he's going to channel his inner Pops, his inner George Steinbrenner this offseason coming up and do everything he can to retain Mr. Juan Soto. Because if not, I know myself and Richie will be outside of Yankee Stadium sharpening up that guillotine looking for Hal and Brian Cashman, allegedly, when it comes to that. What's your thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, bring your pitchforks, everybody, because that's where it'd be headed. I mean, it would be disappointing after all the hype and what could be a fantastic year for Juan Soto and the Yankees in general, just to lose him to your crosstown rival. I think, though, here's the thing, Hector. One of the things that the Mets beats the Yankees on, it's the fact that you look at the payroll coming off the books. And the Yankees have a lot coming off those books. You know, between the biggest contracts, I'm not going to name them all. We'll be here all day. But Soto, Rizzo, Torres alone, 31, 20, 14.2, and then add on another bunch of contracts, including Josh Donaldson, $6 million. I am including this. It's $97.8 million estimated. This is according to Spotrac. I don't know if you guys go based off Fangraphs or Cots contracts. I'm going off of Spotrac. So don't crucify me here. For the Mets, however, so the Yankees coming off with $97.8 million. The Mets, they win this advantage because they're losing $129 million. No, sorry, they're gaining $129 million because people forget Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, James McCann all come up. I don't think Justin Verlander's vesting option is going to invest because he's already starting the season off on the IL. If he does, it's 17.5 headed the Mets way. Still, that's $111 million. I'm doing a lot of math here, ladies and gentlemen, so forgive me for it. Pete Alonso's 20.5 mil. Severino's 13 million. A lot of those one-year offers that the Mets put out this offseason, they come off the books. So in total, again, it could be upwards to about $130 million coming off the books for the New York Mets. They have money to spend. If they wanted to sign Soto and Alonso, they could absolutely do it, especially with Cohen's pockets. So that kind of scares me a little bit, Hector, because you have not only a multi-billionaire ready to just rain hell for that 2025 season with all those top prospects coming up and all that capital coming back to him. This is a guy who's trying to get his team a World Series for the first time since 1986. And I feel kind of icky thinking about it, kind of speaking on behalf of the Mets. But again, I host a show with two Mets fans that had these conversations with me all the time. So it's a lot to digest, but let's hope Soto has a fantastic year and he's just putting his foot down with Scott Boras at the end of it saying, listen, I don't care if there's a $25 billion difference, I'm staying here. I mean, that's what we can hope for at this rate. Yeah. But Cohen's going to dish it out. He's really going to dish it out for him come 2025, 2026. It's going to be 24, 25. It's going to be very interesting.
Listen, it's going to be the battle of the billionaires in New York City. You know, we get to sit back, grab our popcorns, and see who wins, Hal Steinbrenner or Stevie Cohen. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. We got over 60 people rocking with us, like my guy Jonathan put in the chat. We got 26 likes. So if you guys can, smack that like button for your boys. If you're watching us on Instagram, if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, click the link in the bio and jump on over to YouTube. Billy Branch, I am right there with you. I am so done with the Blake Snell talk. Absolutely enough already. Let him go to Anaheim. Billy, I am right there with you. We'll get into that conversation, right? But I'm going to bring up the point.
I'm right there with you. I'm done with the Blake Snell talk. But by the way, that's going to be our next segment. We're going to talk about Blake Snell.
That's going to be our next topic. We're going to get to that the next one, right? Because I'm going to piggyback off what Billy just said. But no, Rich, like you said, you got to factor in all the money that's coming off of the books for the Mets on top of Steve Cohen's willingness to go over the luxury tax. I mean, it's the Steve Cohen tax for a reason. They put it there. The man's name is in it. So his willingness to go over the Steve Cohen tax, you got to put all of that into your calculations when you talk about the offseason. But at the same time, you know, that new GM, he likes to do things differently. President, what's his name from
President of Baseball Operations, David Stearns.
David Stearns. His name was skipping me, but David Stearns, he likes to do things differently. He's more of a defense analytical guy, and we saw this weekend Juan Soto's defense is not the best in the world, right? So if there's anything, that is on the Yankees side. But when he hit that first home run and see him in pinstripes and see him interacting with the rest of his teammates, you could just tell that he's happy where he's at right now in pinstripes down there in Florida. What's your thoughts on how Juan Soto has embraced early part of embracing what it is to be a member of the New York Yankees?
I mean, so far, so good. And actually, watching Soto for the two games that are on, yes, he started off his baseball activity with 2 injury scares. That first at bat, he almost turned his ankle. That first play in the game of yesterday's game, he almost turned his wrist. I mean, my guy's going balls to the wall already in week 1 of spring training. I mean, good for him, but like, dude, we need you. Don't go crazy too much. I mean, I understand. But yeah, I love the camaraderie right now in the clubhouse. And I know it's very early on, and a lot of the guys, you know, you basically have split squads going on, so it's not a consistency of who's in the dugout. But but yeah, I love what I'm seeing right now, and Soto does seem to be a great brain to pick for the younger guys, especially guys. I mean, we talked about this last week, like Jason Dominguez, even though he's recovering right now, you know, he's picking Juan Soto's brain, and it's nothing but smiles right now. Love the energy that I'm seeing overall from the clubhouse. And I think Soto is going to just bring that different sort of mindset to this game. This is a player who played 162 games last year. He's ready to win, man. And he's ready to do it on a high level for this team. And I think a lot of players are ready to rally around that. And I think it's going to be a fantastic year for the Yanks. And so far, from what I'm seeing in these minimal appearances and games that we've seen with the Yankees playing, it's been nothing but smiles for the Yankee clubhouse.
Yeah, no, Rich, I'm right there with you. It looks like there's fun. Like there's fun in the Yankees clubhouse. They're having ping pong tournaments, my guy. You got Andy Pettitte suiting up for ping pong tournaments. When was
guy.
the last time we had an old Yankee great doing a ping pong tournament with some of the young kids? I think it was Luis Torrens. What's his name? Torrens is his last
Yeah,
name, who won the ping pong tournament. Shout out to him, ping pong king of spring trading. But this
my guy.
season, 2024, it is a different season. Like my guy Celso backstage said, let's run the likes up. We got over 70 people in the building. We are sitting at 3,717 subscribers. Guys, let's run up the subscribers. Let's try to get to 4K subs before the season even starts. My guy Mike Lino in the chat with the $5 super chat. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on, my guy. Super sup fellas. Question for you guys. If Yankees win the World Series this year, let's knock on wood. I don't like to touch the money real quick. Would it be an easier pill to swallow if Soto walks away next winter? Listen, you never want you never want to think about the hypothetical of Juan Soto walking away. Yes, obviously, if we were to win a World Series and he walks away for the bigger contract, is it easier pill to swallow? But if we win a World Series, I want to keep Juan Soto because I want to add to more World Series. I want to keep on building. I think Juan Soto re-signing with us will keep the dynasty going if we were to win a World Series this year or start the dynasty trajectory. Like I don't want Juan Soto to leave. I like, yes, it would be an easier pill to swallow, but I don't want him to leave. What about you? What's your thoughts, Rich?
No, it would be an easier pill to swallow. The Yankees won a World Series this year. He did what he had to do at the cost of 5 players who probably wouldn't get you any closer. And as much as I love Juan Soto, the Yankees do have outfielders that are ready to knock on the door for the team. And it's not like it's a position of desperate need. Soto's a generational talent. You're not going to replace a generational talent in 2025. I understand that. But if at the cost of Soto, it means winning a World Series in 2024, sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah, like I get that perspective, and that's why I like having my guy Richie on, because my guy Richie, he walks me off the ledge and he walks me back and forth, because sometimes you could just be out there as a Yankee fan. But no, I see what you're saying. You know, ultimately the end goal is to win the World Series. Yes, would we like to keep Juan Soto? Absolutely. But if you would have asked me a championship or Juan Soto walks away, give me that championships. You know, I want to get number 28. I want to build on top of it more than what other fan bases out there have, you know, especially those in Queens.
I'll paint you this hypothetical then. So we'll just take that question. We'll revise it a little bit. So you have Soto. He walks after the year, but you're guaranteed winning the 2024 World Series. But obviously, the next few years, you're probably, you know, kind of turning the tide to the younger kids. You don't know if there's no guarantee that you get back there. It might take another 5 years until you see a potential World Series. Or do you miss out on the 2024 World Series? Soto's back, and it's a good enough team to get you to the dance, but we're having the same conversations as we had in the last 15 years of they're getting closer, but they're not touching the World Series. I mean, what scenario would you take in that? It's a complete hypothetical that makes no sense probably to most people, but
no. I see what you're saying, right? When it comes to this hypothetical that you said, you brought up a solid point. The fact that the Yankees farm system is so rich right now with young talent. And we always say it, when it comes to prospects, they're lotto tickets. They never pan out. Like my guy Richie said, right? You never know. It's never a given thing that a prospect is going to hit it when it comes to their projections or scouting report. But when you see what we have in spring training right now, and you see what is to come years on now, Spencer Jones, that young man, he looks amazing. We'll talk about him. But you see guys like George Lombard Jr., who had a opposite field home run. That young kid, when we drafted him out of high school, that man, he wasn't even taller than 6 feet. They had him listed at 5'11". He hit 0 home runs last year. He comes into spring training this year. He hit a growth spurt. He ate his Wheaties. He's 6'3", and he had a home run, opposite field home run the other day. So that right there goes to show you that the Yankees, they're focusing on not only what is at the major league level, but what is in the minor leagues. For years, we've been told, Richie, that the Yankees can't develop any prospects. The Yankees can't develop starting pitching. Shout out to my guy, Dane Hubert, and shout out to those at NYYU. They did a great breakdown of this. Dane brought it up. In 2019, When the Yankees revamped their farm system, they brought someone in to direct it all from the beginning, fresh face. The Yankees' focus was developing starting pitching. When you look at the trades the Yankees have done over the past 3 seasons, every trade involved Yankee pitching prospects, right? Frankie Montas didn't work out. We use our pitching prospects to get him. We made that trade with the Chicago Cubs without the reliever. He got injured. He may be back later on, back surgery in the offseason. He may be back. We use pitching prospects to get that. Juan Soto, we use pitching prospects. So the Yankees, they have at the minor league level, they may not be ready to develop to pitch or contribute right now, but 2024, what we have at the major league level and the minor league level, like Richie said, even if Juan Soto was to walk, you can swallow that pill because our minor league level is filled with young, rich talent. What's your thoughts, Rich?
And not only just young, rich talent, but young, rich outfielders. I feel like this is, like, again, another weird hypothetical, but Soto was a third baseman or a first baseman. I feel a little bit tougher letting him go because the Yankees do not have a lot of depth, organizational depth at those positions. In the outfield, however, where are the top prospects at? Dominguez, Jones, Judge, until the toe eventually explodes down the line. Hopefully not. That's your outfield. That's your outfield come 2025, 2026 if there's no Soto. So, but if you add Soto to that mix, obviously there's no such thing as too much depth, and you can you can still utilize a great outfield around Juan Soto being a part of this team. Yeah. What I'm saying, the conversation would be a lot easier if you played a different position because then the Yankees are sparse where he's playing. But of course, as a corner outfield, you can still make things work. If Judge is truly getting a glove at first base to start working at first base, then there you go. There's your opening right there to have 3 outfielders in Jones, Dominguez, and Soto playing that position. You have the DH role still open as long as Giancarlo Stanton isn't getting regular reps. That's a potential as well. So it really opens up a lot of scenarios. But yeah, Hector, it's a crazy thought to think of.
Yeah.
If Soto stays with this team, what this potential lineup could look like, this core lineup could look like in the future moving ahead. It's insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And I'm chuckling when you say Aaron Judge at first base because shout out to LI Yankee King in the chat. My guy has been pushing hard for Aaron Judge to be a first baseman ever since that 62 home run season. Ever since back then, he's been saying Aaron Judge is going to be a first baseman. Watching it, and every Yankee, Li, shut up, Li. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And when that article came out over the weekend, and it talked about Aaron Judge potentially playing some games at first base, I'm like, somewhere in the world, Li Yankee King is happy, and he is just laughing at everybody right now. Shout out to the entire chat. We got over 80 people in the building right now. If you guys can, please smack that like button and hit the subscribe button as well. We are sitting on 37 likes right now, and we got over 85 people in the building. If you're watching on Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter, click the link in the button bio and jump on over, join the convo over here on YouTube. But we're going to get to the story that I'm tired of talking about, but I'm going to keep on bringing it up because it's a conversation to have. We got to talk about Blake Snell and the propaganda that is out there. And I'm calling it propaganda because we all know Jon Heyman and his relationship with Mr. Scott Boras, who represents Blake Snell. This is what Jon Heyman has, right? Juan Soto, he told Jon Heyman, former Padres teammate Blake Snell would be a great fit with the Yankees. It would be unbelievable to have a 2-time Cy Young winner going back to back. It'll be great. Snell is a great guy, a great player. Any help that we can get, I would love. He's a great dude. He's a great guy. He's always right there cheering for his teammate. He's funny to go to. He's great in the clubhouse. Yada, yada, yada. Shut the fuck up. When it comes to this propaganda from Blake Snell, and I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. I'm going to bring it back.
This is a kid show.
I know. Sorry for cursing. I know if he's coming over, he's going to help the team big time. It's always great to have great talent on the team. I would never say no. So it's a great fit for him to, I think, when it comes to this, right? And I'm laughing and chuckling. You know, I'm sorry for dropping the F-bomb, but how many times do you think Scott Boras had Juan Soto prepare that answer or practice that answer with him before he had that conversation with Jon Heyman?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Hector. It's got Boris vibes. And even if it doesn't, like, what is Juan Soto gonna say? He played last year with Blake Snell. He played the last year and a half of his career with Blake Snell. Of course he's going to call out one of the better pitchers in the game, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, who on February 27th is still a free agent. What the flip are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? I'd be a hypocrite if I dropped the big F bomb, but what are we doing? Like, what is actually happening right now? So, I can't blame, even if Boris wasn't over Soto's shoulder writing this out for him. What else is Juan Soto going to say if he's going to get a quote out on Blake Snell? It's his former teammate.
Yeah, no, I'm right there. And L.I. Yankee, you was doing so good, bro. You was doing so good. Shout out to L.I. Yankee King with the $4.99 super chat, helping us keep the lights on. He said, how about moving Juan Soto to first base in 2025 with Anthony Rizzo mentoring him and redoing Rizzo's option to a 2-year, $20 million deal to keep that mentor? L.I. Yankee King, my guy, I love you. I swear to God, virtual huggies for L.I. Yankee King. But Billy Branch, thank you for bringing that up. Jon Heyman is Scott Boris's mouthpiece. Blake Snell averages 5 innings, a good game, and is prone to injury. Billy Branch, like I said, and you figured this out if you follow the reporters and you see their relationships. When I look at basketball, right, and I bring this up a lot, I know if I want to know anything that has to do with the Knicks or CAA clients, I go and look what Woj has to say because Woj is represented by CAA. If I want to know what's going on with Clutch Sports and LeBron James, I go to Shams because he's represented by Clutch Sports. If I want to know what's happening to any Scott Boris's clients, I see what Jon Heyman is talking about because he has a relationship with Scott Boris. It's as simple like that. You just follow the cookie crumbs. And like you said, he is just the mouthpiece. So if it was to happen, I think I would be happy. I think, Richie, you would be happy because we're adding a Cy Young winner to not be our ace, but be our number 2 starter pitcher in that rotation. I don't think any Yankee fan would not want Blake Snell on the team, but I am tired of this news cycle of just copy and paste when it comes to this nonsense around Blake Snell. Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody actually just dropped in the chat when it comes to Yankee transactional notes and rumors, the only 2 people I'm listening to is Jack Curry, because he's covering the team and he does a great job, and he's all about brass tacks at the end of the day. And B, and more on a national level, Jeff Passan, because when Jeff Passan tweets, it's usually done. It usually means, and here's all the information, by the way. This is the other thing I credit Jeff Passan for. When he tweets out or posts, now it's X, when he posts out these news articles, he says, this is the player, this is how much he's signing for, or if it's a trade, this is where he's going, this is who he's been traded for. He gives you all the information you need in that one tweet. He might not be the first one to the dance, but he gives you the correct information right then and there. Jon Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, is the same guy who tweeted Arson Judge to the Giants. And I understand he has a relationship with Scott Boras, but I'm sorry. After what I've seen over the last couple of off seasons with the beat writers, shout out to the beat writers, from the beat writers, it's just been awful reporting. And I have a hard time sitting back here and reading what these guys have to say, especially when it comes down to they got an offer out. They're closing on talks. Oh, they're working out an agreement. I don't want to hear it anymore. I want to get more to official, finalizing. Those are words that I need to hear when it comes down to the brass tacks of a transaction in Major League Baseball in 2024. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I'm right there with you, Hector. I'm sick of talking about Blake Snell at this point. Just sign. I don't care which team you sign with. Just sign. I mean, it's not going to disappoint me if he doesn't sign with the Yankees at this point.
Yeah, and absolutely. And when it comes to the whole luxury tax thing, right? And I see, because somebody in the chat says they don't want to hear about the Yankees and the luxury tax. They have the money to spend. I get that, right? And as a Yankee fan, I sometimes I get frustrated hearing the whole luxury tax thing. So a way to make it more palatable, right? If that's the proper way you use that word, a way to make it more palatable when it comes to his 30 million being 65 million or whatever it is. Just look at it like this. Yes, the Yankees are at that luxury tax. If we were to sign Blake Snell's not the reason we're in that luxury tax. He's not the reason you're in that luxury tax. You have other contracts on the books. You got Garrett Cole, you got Aaron Judge, you got Giancarlo Stanton. So just saying that Blake Snell is going to cost you $65 million, that's not necessarily true, because you can make it like this. because you signed Blake Snell and because you're in that penalty, instead of saying you have to give $60 million to sign Blake Snell, just put it like this. You sign Blake Snell. Now you're in a penalty that you have to pay $1.3 million for every player that is on your team. That's the penalty for Blake Snell. It's not just $33 million because of Blake Snell. You're paying $1.3 million for every player that is on your roster because you're in that penalty. That's a lot more palatable than saying, I don't want to pay $60 million for someone that we signed for $30 million because of the penalty. You see what I'm saying with that, Rich?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if that makes you sleep at night, Hector, with that kind of math, then I'm in for it. I'm all in for that. If you want to say,
if they were to do it, that's an easy way to.
No, yeah. I get you. I got you right there. No, and I think, listen, I think it is absolutely more palatable if you want to think of it that way. If you wanted to say like, hey, it's a tax of all the players that you have on the team, not just because of one player. And think about it this way too. Every contract led to this moment. The Yankees already passed the 297. You know, bingo. And did they do? And Hector, do I remember that rock star player that the Yankees went over with on this team? No. Caleb Ferguson, Lou Trevino. Like, it wasn't that. So yeah, obviously there's a buildup of contracts, and at the end of the day, this player is still available. And if you think this player is going to help you bring in a World Series, you go get him. Now, if it was me, if you're going to go down this route, I'd almost rather just go after Jordan Montgomery at this rate. I mean, he's gonna cost you 2 less draft picks than what Blake Snell is gonna cost you. He's still gonna cost you what, $1 million, I think, of IFA money, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless if you sign Snell or Monty, it doesn't matter. But you still keep the draft picks, and he's gonna be less AAV because at the end of the day, the reigning Cy Young Award winner is gonna eat a little bit more contract than the pitcher who probably projects as a ceiling 2-starter for most rotations. I could be sold more on the player that I've seen here and I know is a workhorse and has gone every 5th day. And at this rate, and this is what I kind of want to ask you, Hector, at this point, like, what is the deadline for these players? I've had this question asked to me over the last few days and I have a hard time answering it. I kind of want to say mid-March, but even at this point, I think if you sign, you're missing the beginning of the season. You still need to get at least, I think, 4 to 5 starts before you're ready to go for opening day. So what is the deadline for these pitchers to sign?
Listen, March 1st, March 5th, like I'm right there with you. Because now if you were to sign Blake Snell, if you were to sign Jordan Montgomery, you're paying them what their AAV is going to be 25 million or 30 million to not even make more than 28 starts, because they're going to miss the first, like, at least 2 to 4 starts because they have to have an extended spring training. Yes, they could be having their side sessions and throwing. That doesn't translate to actually facing major league hitting. You can go and face some college players and whatever school you went to. That doesn't translate to being down there in spring training with the guys that are on your roster against either minor league hitters or major league hitters. It's not going to translate the same. So I'm right there with you. You saw Cody Bellinger sign, but he had to give up. He didn't get the money he was looking for. He didn't get the years he was looking for. But you like the player options that potentially next year he could come to the Yankees. After Rizzo leaves, and it still leaves the doors open for that, right, Richie?
Or Met fan will say, well, or after when Soto signs with us, you can go get Cody Bellinger. Like, have fun, enjoy that, guys, enjoy. All right, so. That was crazy too. And that was Bellinger I think that was Bellinger simply just putting his foot down with Boris, saying like, hey, I need to play here. Like, Chicago still has an opening. They had an opening in their outfield. I think they were their projected center fielder prior to Bellinger signing was Mike Tauchman. So there you go. So they had an opening there, and he's a guy who could also transition to first base, which I don't think they have much organizational depth in either. So it makes sense for him to take the less money and go for it. And hell, if he rocks out again in Chicago, then listen, teams are going to look at a guy like Cody Bellinger and say, all right, he's legit. Like, whatever happened in the tail end of his Dodgers career was a fluke or something happened, or maybe he wasn't fully healthy, but he's the guy. So I think it was smart for Bellinger. I'm surprised a guy like Matt Chapman is still available who can easily do the same thing. And his advantage is he's arguably the best third base glove in the game. So it's still wild, man. It's February 27th. We're still talking about these guys as free agents. It's nuts.
It's crazy, man. I think, Scott Boras, he overplayed his hand, and, the owners, they called his bluff. If this was a casino and we at the blackjack table, Scott Boras, he busted. He has four players career in his hands, and he busted with these 4 players that are still out there on the free agent market. You can even throw in Cody Bellinger for that, because he didn't even get Cody Bellinger what he was looking for. I just want to pull this up real quick just because I just got this notification on Twitter. Randy Miller and his comments when it comes to like Juan Soto, so he's saying that he believes Juan Soto was signed with the New York Mets. He would be a Met by next year. This is the I just want to put this out there. This is the same Randy Miller that on October 26, 2022, he put out an article saying that Aaron Judge, he believes with all his heart, Aaron Judge will be a San Francisco Giant by the time the season starts. He got that wrong. No disrespect to Randy Miller. Like Rich said, shout out to the media. You're part of the media people, but you got that one wrong, and you got this one wrong when it comes to Juan Soto. But since we just talked about a starting pitcher, I want to piggyback and talk about one of our starting pitchers that we saw coming back from injury, Mr. Carlos Rodon. 2 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 home run. He had 2 walks to 5 strikeouts. Carlos Rodon, he looked pretty good. The defense was a little shaky. The umpire didn't help out. But ultimately, you saw the good Carlos Rodon in that first inning. Rich, I'm going to throw it over to you. How important was it to see Carlos Rodon, especially in that first inning, have a 1-2-3 with a few strikeouts?
Oh, yeah, no, it's big time. As I've mentioned many times on Empire State of Baseball and right here on Yanks Brew, the best pitcher the Yankees can acquire to be the 1A to Garrett Cole is a healthy and locked-in Carlos Rodon. Regardless of who is a free agent, if you look at what Rodon did between 21 and 22, you can understand where I'm coming from. This is a guy who is an absolute dog if he's healthy and he's doing his thing and he's not focused on any extracurricular activities with the fans or the media or whatnot. Rodon could be that guy. And I was very impressed with what I saw from him in that start, I believe on Sunday. But yeah, and I think the biggest takeaway I saw is like, listen, he's not pumping 97, 98 right now. Hopefully he builds to that. But from what I saw on the onset, I was really impressed from that first bounce back for Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, not 97, not 98, but it was a good 95. 94, 95. That slider looked filthy. He just had a different presence on the mound also. He looked a lot more leaner. So shout out to Carlos Rodon. Hopefully this translates, to him having a healthy 2024 season. Still want to knock on wood, but a solid first off for Carlos Rodon. Solid outing out there. I want to bring up the next person that I want to talk about real quick when it comes to, hold on, let me just.
Rapid fire, I love it.
Real quick. This is rapid fire, absolutely. We can talk about Gleyber Torres real quick. Even though Gleyber Torres, he hasn't like really exploded offensively. When it comes to his games, he had two games played, 2 at-bats, 2 hits, a double, and an RBI. Gleyber Torres, solid so far and spring training. I think this is just 1 sack. I think he played 2 games so far in spring training. But Gleyber Torres, he got rid of that mustache because apparently his wife hated it and his kid hated it also. Same. But listen, I like what I'm seeing out of Gleyber Torres. So far, so good. What's your thoughts?
I mean, listen, this is a contract year for Gleyber Torres. I think a contract year Gleyber is going to be something special in 2024. And I'll say it right now. I think this is going to be his best statistical year to come. He's going to make it a difficult conversation for the Yankees come this offseason if it means giving him what he wants after whatever happens with Juan Soto. And I think the fallback, listen, if again, going back to just dialing it back as a Yankee fan here, if the Yankees do miss out on bringing back Juan Soto, I would have to think Gleyber Torres is the next guy they're going to talk to as far as bringing him back, especially if he's coming off a great year. So this is going to be a locked in. I said Soto again. I meant Torres. This is going to be a locked in. This is going to be a locked in Torres for 2024. So obviously we're only a couple of games into the exhibition series, so we got to see a little bit more come the rest of March. But yeah, excited to see what Torres has for this 2024 campaign.
Listen, for me, like you said, I know we're just a few games into spring training. I think the Yankees played like 5 games so far with a couple of split squads in between. So far, so good. When it comes to early, I'm just glad baseball is back. And with that being said, we got to talk about the new addition, Mr. Juan Jose Pacheco Soto. He played 2 games. He had a home run already, 5 RBIs in his early outing in spring training. The defense a little shaky, but that's expected when it comes to Juan Soto. He's not going to go out there. He's not Roberto Clemente. He's not Andrew Jones. But when it comes to his bat, that's what plays very well. And so far, so good when it comes to Juan Soto. Apo Taco. What's your thoughts, Richie?
If we're talking just the exhibition series, it's just as advertised with Juan Soto. I mean, right off the rip, the home run on that first televised game was phenomenal. Opposite field, like you just mentioned, off the scoreboard. Not a lot of lefties can say they've done that at George M. Steinbrenner Field. So very impressed with what Soto's brought. But again, this is exactly what you have to expect from a player like this. Even hitting the ball off the fence. And I know there was a lot of people on Twitter, Yankees Twitter, that was kind of crucifying him for looking at it, kind of comparing him to like Robinson Cano. Oh, he's a Robinson Cano fan. Is there a laziness factor there? I say baloney. It's exhibition series. You don't want this guy going full tilt. And yet, here's the same guy who tried to make a diving play on the first defensive play of the game on Monday and nearly turned his wrist. So I don't want to hear it about he was watching, he was admiring it. You know what? He's gonna be admiring a lot of balls hit to right field this year. I mean, it's awesome to see three days in. Soto's looking great already. So let's hope we can keep this momentum going into the regular season.
NYY Originals in the chat, they said it perfectly. Juanito would do his thing. No worries here. Absolutely. No worries. And I love that name, NYY Original. 100%. He's been A1 since day one, back when we was on KOD. Appreciate you in the chat and appreciate everybody in the building. Let's do a little bit of roll call real quick before we continue. My guy, Mike Perez, is in the building. Mikey P, how you doing? Like I said, NYY Originals. Ness, the baseball guy, is in the building. Chris N from the Yankees Podcast on Twitter. If you guys are on Twitter, make sure you guys go follow Yankee Podcast. They do a great Twitter space at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. Go check them out. They do great work. They work with our guy, Jimmy Randanzo, as well. Mike Lino is still in the building. Tony Donnie, number 2, is in the building. Our guy, Snell, is in the building. Salute to you. We got to talk about the young fella, Spencer Jones.
Yeah.
He's having himself a great spring training. He is 7 of 5 in the 3 games. A monster moonshot, 470 plus feet, 4 RBIs. The future is bright for Spencer Jones. For you Yankee fans out there, I get it. I understand. You guys wanted to trade for Corbin Burns. You don't give up Spencer Jones. And we're seeing right now in spring training why you don't give up Spencer Jones. And his first full professional career in the minor leagues, the kid hit 265 with 20 home runs. That got to show you that there's some promise there. I think it's an upward trajectory when it comes to Spencer Jones. Rich, what's your reflection when it comes to the young man?
Nah, I think Dylan Cease can absolutely hit a 470-foot ding dong out of any spring training or Major League Baseball park. This is fantastic. I'm so glad that Jones has been doing his thing so early on into spring training. You know, it just honestly, this is kind of a callback to what Jason Dominguez was doing last spring training in 2023, which made it an interesting conversation because obviously all the hype last year in spring training was all around Anthony Volpe and seeing if he was going to nab that shortstop job. But then Jason Dominguez ends up having probably one of the best springs of all the offensive players last year. And it made that conversation interesting. Hey, does Dominguez fit into the outfield solution? You're losing Harrison Bader. I don't know if that was known by the time he was doing his thing. And you still have Aaron Hicks in the projected outfield. You had a left field spot that was still free because you had Oswaldo Cabrera potentially being the starter, and he was the starter for opening day. So it made an interesting conversation then. Now, obviously, Jones can make it interesting, but we also know at the same time, there's not a home for Spencer Jones at this rate. So Spencer Jones can hit a home run every single day of spring training, and he can really open up some eyes for possibly a call-up still at the tail end of the year. But I don't know if that's even going to be a possibility with the amount of outfield depth the Yankees have at this point. So love what I'm seeing from Spencer Jones, though. He's been unbelievable. I think he was entering today's game with a 0% whiff rate. I don't know if he swung and missed at a pitch. I didn't catch the game today. But Jones is doing some wonderful things right now, so early on into exhibition games.
Yeah, and the one thing that the Yankees wanted Spencer Jones to work on, he did strike out, but he struck out looking, right? So I'm not sure how that accounts towards his whiff rate, right? But the one thing that the Yankees... Yeah, exactly. So the one thing that the Yankees wanted Spencer Jones to do this offseason was to work on his strikeouts, was to bring his strikeout numbers down than what they were last year in spring training. Sorry about New York City in the background with the horns. Sorry about that. But That's the one thing the Yankees wanted him to work on. He went back to Vanderbilt. He hooked up with his college hitting coach. He wanted to change his path to the baseball and work on his exit velocity as well. You see it right now. First strikeout of the spring was a strikeout that they caught him looking. If the box was there as it normally is, it's probably a borderline pitch. But hey, robot umpires are coming in the next 10 years. That's another conversation, but for another day. But like my guy Rich said, when it comes to the future for the Yankees when it comes to Spencer Jones is bright. This young man, he's untouchable. I see folks in the chat saying he's untouchable right now. If tomorrow, if a clone of Garrett Cole was available on the pitching market and they wanted to trade for Spencer Jones, absolutely, you go out there and you make that trade. But if it's not a guy that's just as good or better than Garrett Cole, you don't make the trade. You don't trade Spencer Jones. You don't trade him for Dylan Cease. He's an amazing starting pitcher. You're not trading for Dylan Cease because he's the number one pitcher in Major League Baseball. You're trading for Dylan Cease because he's young and he has controllable years. That's why they want Spencer Jones, because he has controllable years and because he's young. You're not trading for Dylan Cease because he's a top pitcher in the league. What's your thoughts, Rich?
If you don't, simple measurement, Hector, if you don't have to question it, you're not including Jones in the deal heading back for a pitcher. It's got to be top class. It has to be an elite guy. And I know I'm kind of like wearing the pinstripes here on this one because at the end of the day, Spencer Jones is the 84th ranked prospect, 82nd ranked prospect in all of baseball. So obviously there's a lot of players that teams will be like, oh, well, if we're willing to trade our guy to get a bigger piece to help us, we're going to do it. But for the Yankees' sake, and when you have to figure out what's going on with Juan Soto first and figure out if he fits into the outfield plan come 2025 after it's all said and done in the offseason, you can't trade Spencer Jones. You have to hold on to him until the time is right. Figure out what you need to figure out with Soto first before you even entertain an offer for Spencer Jones. He's proving a lot of people who are just throwing it in on the freaking trade values on the website, throwing Spencer Jones in every single possibility, and yet he's turning some heads at this point. So I'm happy for the kid right now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you look at over the past 20 years, the Yankees, when it comes to prospects, we haven't done, besides Aaron Judge, we haven't hit on a lot of these prospects. There's been a lot of bust when it comes to prospects. Just think about it. Right, going back, I think someone put a Twitter video out on TikTok since 2004, over the past 20 years. You guys remember De'Aaron Navarro, the all-star catcher from the Tampa Bay Rays? That was our number one prospect in 2004. We used him in a trade, and we traded for Randy Johnson and his old ass, Mr. AARP, and his 40 years old. That's what we traded away. So we have a track record of trading away young players that turn good on other teams, but we don't have a good track record of developing them in our system. Jesus Montero, perfect example. Top prospect for a couple of years. We traded him away for Michael Pineda. Both guys turned into busts, especially Pineda with the sticky shit. You remember Eric Duncan, who didn't even crack the big league roster? That was another bust. So when it comes to right now, over the past 5 years, I think you got to give credit to the organization. They wanted to rebuild this farm system, and they've done it the right way. They didn't go out there, Rich, and say, you know what, we're going to tank every season. We're going to put our fan base through hell, lose 100 games every year. It's like the Astros did before they got good. A lot of teams did that. The Pirates did that for years. Cincinnati Reds did that for years before they got to where they are right now. So as a fan base, we got to look at this front office, take our hat off and tip it to them, because they did it in a way that they didn't have to lose. And we, as a fan base, didn't have to endure that for years in a row. What's your thoughts on that for us, Rich?
Oh, it's freaking pouring out, by the way. So I'm hoping I don't go black out here on the spot on the stream. That would suck. It's really coming down. I don't know about you, but dude, absolutely. From what we've seen over the last few years, and I've kind of touched on this in the past, I think the Yankees also know when it's time to trade certain players. I say that, and I also think of players that they could have moved on from and they didn't pull the trigger. But think about it, like especially with a pitcher. Who's the young pitcher that the Yankees gave up in a trade that ended up being exactly what he was touted for in the farm system?
The only player in my mind,
I can't think of one.
The Yankees, the only person that comes to my head is we traded Ian Kennedy away, and he won 20 games with the Diamondbacks and was runner up for a Cy Young. Besides that, no one else.
No, I can't think of a single kid like James Caprillion. Like, yeah, he had a cup of coffee in Oakland, but he's been hurt since. All the components of the Oakland A's trade with Frankie Montas. Yeah, maybe it's a little too soon because guys like Luis Medina hasn't really showcased what he's all about. And guys like Ken Waldichuk. How about the years we were talking about Ken Waldichuk? He hasn't really shown much of anything since being dealt. So I can't think of the starting pitcher. Offensive players, yeah, maybe Tyro Estrada. Tyro Estrada's done pretty well with the San Francisco Giants. It's hard to think of players that have been in the Yankee system, grown here, and were much more successful when they were dealt to another team. So the Yankees do have an act of moving on from guys that really work out. How about the Aroldis Chapman trade from years ago? Remember Eric Jagielo, who was in that trade, highly talented third baseman, thought to be like the heir apparent to Alex Rodriguez on the team? Never heard from him since, never even cracked the major. So we can run down the list. I mean, Donnie Clark here mentions Jorge Mateo. Like, that's a solid piece, but again, this is also a utility infielder who he was off to a great start with Baltimore last year, but he's ultimately a bench player. Yet maybe he can amount to something else on some of the team, but it hasn't really worked out. Garrett Whitlock, another one mentioned by Jonathan, great relief pitcher for the Red Sox. He's been kind of up and down in the starting rotation of the bullpen. I can't think of a lot of Yankee prospects. The point I'm making is I can't think of a lot of Yankee prospects that the Yanks moved on from that panned out to be something fantastic with another team where it was just like the slap in the face of the organization. I don't know about you, Hector. I can't think of one.
Like Elijah Dunham, he's been a solid player for the Texas Rangers, but there hasn't been a guy, to your point, that we traded away and become an all-star or a superstar on another team, right? So I'm right there with you when it comes. Garrett Whitlock, more of a Rule 5 draft, like Jonathan put in the chat. Monty, I wouldn't say Monty's a prospect. It's more of a guy that the Yankees front office, they just lost faith in, and they didn't believe in him, and they traded him away. You could give him like an honorary mention, but no, I'm right there with you. They really hasn't been nothing much. I wanted to do open panel. I got to run at 7:30, so we got a hard stop, so we can't do open panel. Sorry about that. We will be back on Thursday, and we will have the open panel on Thursday as well, just because it's raining crazy by me also, and my Wi-Fi acts up ridiculous when it's raining. So I want to stop early because of that. But Rich, great conversation, right? We're going to keep this going just for a little bit. You know what? Screw it. F it. We'll have one or two people for an open panel just because.
All right.
Why not? All right. So I'm going to throw the link in the chat. Like I said, we can't stay for that long just because the rains by me is acting up. I don't want it to be choppy, but we still got over 60 people rocking with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, we will be in Tampa this weekend. Actually, Sunday is when I land in Tampa. So I'll be out there next week for spring training. If you guys are out there, we need about 10 people. If anybody from the community is out there and you guys want to come link up with us, let us know. Hit us up on social media so we could get the ball rolling. I'm going to bring guys in one at a time. Future, I see you backstage. Future, if you just can, turn your camera on. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you're good, ready to rock. I see I got Chris N in the chat. Sunil's back there. Jonathan's back there. I'm going to bring you guys up one at a time. Going to have you talk for one. Give me one topic. Bring it down. Bring up the next person right now also. Yeah, that was, I'm sorry, Elijah Dunham. Ezekiel Duran is who I was talking about with the Rangers. Yeah, Ezekiel Duran. So I'm going to bring up Future real fast. My guy Future. Que lo que, mi hermano? What's good,
brother?
What's up, guy?
First time on an open panel. Appreciate you on Twitter as well, my guy. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. You know, just going all crazy. Rich knows how I feel about the Blake Snell situation. He should know.
I know. Unfortunately, I know. Yes.
Well, Future, I'm gonna throw it over to you, my guy, just because we have other people backstage that I want to bring up real quick. So I'm gonna throw it over to you. Whatever topic you want to go for, shoot from the hip, rapid fire. Go ahead.
I'm gonna keep it about 50. It's just about Snell. Yeah, I kept saying from the beginning, and Rich knows. I've been saying it from the beginning. With all the stuff that's bringing up, especially now that John Heyman just put Jose Trevino on his podcast talking about Snell, it's like I feel like Scott Boras at this point is gonna get way too desperate. I'm gonna say it from the beginning. He's gonna be a Yankee. He's just gonna fall into our lap. Watch. Just watch.
And you know what's funny, right? Because I've seen you was in the chat like probably for like the majority of the show. And when I brought up the Randy Miller stuff. I was like, yeah, because someone just sent it to me. Somebody took your tweet. They screenshot your tweet and they texted to me. So I was like, yo, he's in the chat right now. I'm like, if he comes up to the open panel, I'm gonna let him know. So just to let you know, someone screenshot your Randy Miller tweet and sent it to me, and that's how I got it on my show notes.
Wait, you gotta send it. I have to see.
I'll send it. I'll send it.
Future's going viral. He doesn't even know it. Like, that's insanity.
This is the first I hear of this.
Yeah, no. But no, I got it though. But no, listen, Future, I appreciate you. On Thursday, we're gonna have more of an open panel. You know, have everybody on for a free for all. We'd love to have you there. Just let the people know where they can follow you on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. Just let them know.
Just look up Yanks 2077. I'm a video editor. I do all sorts of things. I talk on the Yankees pod a lot. A lot of them know me. I talk with Rich every now and then. Just join up. I most of the time I troll, but I like to have a lot of fun with my fellow fans. So we rock.
Listen, I think that's a perfect fitting over here. I think you would fit perfect over here rocking out with us. Listen, folks in the chat, if you aren't following our guy Future, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you go out there and follow Future. Future, I'll be hitting you up in the DM because we got to get some video work. I know
I was gonna DM you about that. I don't know if you got my email about that.
Yeah. No. I got you. I got your email. Yeah, we got your email. So we'll message and we'll get that rocking. But Future, I appreciate you. I see you this Thursday, right?
You have
Listen,
fun,
money line. If you had to put a bet down, right? In all reality, Blake Snell, San Francisco, Anaheim, or the Yankees, where you putting that bet at?
Negative 100 on the Yankees, plus 150 on the Giants, plus 200 on Anaheim.
Dale, my guy. Salute to you, bro.
I love it.
Appreciate my guy. Guys, make sure you put your bet-ins, but if you're going to put your bet-ins, make sure you bet responsibly, right? I don't want to get no DMs saying you lost money because Rich gave you a bad betting advice when it comes to baseball.
Hang on a second. We're getting bets from the future. From the future. You got to listen to the future. It's guaranteed money.
Rich, are you a betting guy? Do you do DraftKings, FanDuel?
I'm not. I hate losing money.
Okay, listen, that's respectable. How about fantasy baseball? You big into fantasy baseball?
No, I'm a big fantasy baseball guy. It's actually the only thing I jump into because it gives me the best chance of winning money. Commissioned the league the last 13 years. Yeah, I'm all about it.
All right, did you guys do your draft yet already? Is it ready to go? Your league's ready to set up?
We have our draft scheduled for next week. It's keeper league. I'm going in with some pretty good players already. Mookie Betts included. So hopefully it works out for me this year for the first time ever.
Any open spots for a bottom tier team in your league? Any open spots available?
It's tough, man. We haven't had an opening in about 5 years, so waiting for somebody. It's like grandfathering. It's like grandfathering tickets at like NFL games. Like it's a tough spot. I mean, I'm talking about it's 10 of 10 every single year. It's the same guy, so it's tough.
I think I'll have a better chance getting my TLC plaque than joining Richie Rivera's fantasy league. But I'll bring up the next guy to join us. Chris, let me get a thumbs up. I'll bring you up, my guy. I got the thumbs up from my guy, Chris. Chris, mi hermano, how are you doing? Chris from the Yankees pod. Salute to you, brother. Oh, got a little mute problem.
There was an extra human back there.
I'm in.
All good. How you feeling, bro? Listening to the convo. What's your thoughts?
I'm good. I loved everything you guys had to say today. I kind of agree with everything. Kind of what the guy said earlier on the whole, if we win the championship and Soto walks, is it an easy pill to swallow? I don't want to say easy pill to swallow because you want to keep a guy like that for so long. But at the end of the day, again, it's about championships. So if we get one out of it, fine. I don't think Rich made a point that, we're not hurting in the outfield for the future. You got Spencer Jones, you got a Dominguez, we got Judge locked up. So, the outfield wouldn't hurt as much. But overall, I'm loving what I'm seeing for some of the kids, especially like a Spencer Jones. 470-foot bombs from major league players don't happen. You got a guy in Double-A who's hitting a 470. Like, that's different. That's different. So that's a good thing. I'm a little concerned about Peraza. Not sure what's going to happen there. I know the shoulder thing came out today. So hopefully that's not too serious and he can kind of clean some things up because me and Rich have spoken about him. We have high hopes for him. And maybe if we do move him, we can use him as that blue chip piece for the future, but to move for somebody good, but he has to clean some things up. Other than that, loving what I'm seeing. The clubhouse looks great. Everybody seems like they're in tune with what we're trying to do this year, which is a great thing. Mentioned it to Rich the other day. Clubhouse things lead on to the field. So if you're getting that good clubhouse feel, that is going to trickle onto the field, and you're going to see some production. But yeah, that kind of, I'll be back Thursday because I know we'll have a little more time. But that sums it all up. And Spencer Jones' new name is Baby Jesus. That's about it.
There you go. There you go. I saw you put that in the chat earlier. I wanted to ask you, right? Do you let the people know in the chat also where they can follow you at on Twitter? When you do the Twitter space that you do, is only at 12 o'clock in the afternoon? Do you do later on as well?
So it's every day, Monday through Friday at 12.
Okay.
We usually do about 12 to 1. But lately we have, because it is baseball season now, so we have been touching on the weekends as well. But it's Yankees Pod. It's Jimmy Randazzo started it.
Shout
you
out
guys
to
are
Jimmy
more than welcome.
Randazzo.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He really is. And just to sell the space a little bit, everybody's allowed to talk. We don't really knock what people's thoughts are. Listen, I've said this to Rich before. What Rich thinks and what I think, our philosophies may be different. What Heck thinks may be different, but at the same time, we all bringing something to the table.
Bingo.
This is why I support you guys. This is why I support Nick's Brew as well. Like, you guys give a panel out to us where we're allowed to talk. So love what you guys are doing. You guys got to support it here every time, and I love to support back. And let's go Yankees, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, appreciate. Listen, I'm looking to do more Twitter spaces, especially when it comes to the Yankees. So if you want to link up and start doing some later Twitter spaces, Rich, if you're free, also late night Twitter spaces around the Yankees or around baseball, let me know. I'm down to do it. I've never set up or done Twitter spaces, so I'm new to Twitter space. I don't know. I may need some of you veterans to show me how to do the Twitter space thing.
I'm getting better at it, and not for nothing. Like Rich can sell me on whatever, but I think I do a good job.
He does.
So if you ever like, hey, I'm gonna try to run the spaces today, I'm on. Let me know, and I'm on.
Well, so I'll set up a group chat so we can start going back and forth, right, Pa?
I'm down. You know it, fellas. All love.
All right.
Have a good night.
Appreciate you,
Let's
brother.
go Yankees. I'll be in tune.
Shout out my guy Chris. Shout out to Chris. And yeah, that's a great conversation. That guy, because I do join a lot of spaces. I showed you in their space earlier today. It's just I'm new to the Twitter thing, bro. So I'm like very nervous when it comes to that,
Empire's jumping into the Twitter to the X spaces as well. I keep saying Twitter. I'm trying to transition to X. I'm sorry, Elon.
It would never be X. I will always be Twitter for me. I'm the guy that I don't care if I have a 2024 Lexus, I'm gonna still have an 8-track player in it. That's the type of motherfucker. That's the type of person I am.
Let's go Cleveland Indians. Let's go.
That's right.
That's right.
Shout out to the chat. Also, we still got people rocking with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We got a few more people we got to bring up. We're gonna let them know. Shout out to my guy Blood of the Panther. If you know, my guy. So I'm gonna bring up Sunil, let me get a thumbs up and I'll bring you up, my guy. All right, Sunil, my brother, salute to you. He got the CIA agent earpiece on. Balake Snell, what's your thoughts?
Well, you ever see the Marcelo Hernandez skit from SNL back last year when he's doing the spoof on the Dominican baseball player and how the white guy announcer basically all of a sudden gets a Dominican accent out of nowhere? You picture 84-year-old.
Yes.
You ever picture 84-year-old John Sterling trying to do that and how ugly it'll sound?
John Sterling's gonna have some fun with those Juan Soto home run calls this year. That's all I know. Mr. John Sterling, he got some time to make up when it comes to that. I think Sterling's gonna have some good ones.
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting to see because John Heyman is the mouthpiece for Scott Boras, as I like to call him.
Nice.
Yeah, Scott. I had an extra S conveniently. I threw a hyphen.
Keep it clean. Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm also at the point where I could create a spoof movie tomorrow on Borat, starring Sacha Baron Cohen, and just call it Boras instead of Borat. I mean, what's the difference? Yeah,
it'll sell out quick also. But Sunil, back to the topic when it comes to Scott Boras and John Heyman and Balake Snell. What's your thoughts? You've been listening to us. How are you feeling when it comes to spring training so far?
I'm just waiting for a tweet, or should I say X 2.0, that John Heyman basically threw out there on Aaron Judge. It's going to be Arson Snell to San Francisco for whatever the numbers come out to be. I'm predicting 6 for 180. I don't know. But my other idea.
I was gonna say real quick, when I feel bad for the San Francisco Giants fan base. Like, one, you got to deal with the Dodgers for the next 10 years with Ohtani, Yamamoto, and the entire Japanese all-star team that's going to sign with them over the next 10 years. But on top of that, nobody wants to sign with you. Aaron Judge didn't want to sign with you. You thought you signed Carlos Correa, but then the medicals came back and you had to renege on that deal. It's like, why don't no one wants to sign with San Francisco?
Jung-Hoo Lee, he signed with San Francisco. Jung-Hoo Lee.
Shout out.
He's gonna be the Yoshida of the Giants.
There you go. Yeah. Shout out to the new Ichiro of MLB baseball, Jung-Ho Lee.
Oh, he's no Ichiro. Stop. He's no Ichiro. Don't make me leverage my inner LA Yankee King on your ass, basically.
Oh no, we don't have that kind of time.
No, we don't need that. We need that. Sunil, before you go, because I got 2 more people to bring up before we dip out. Last thoughts when it comes to spring training. What's your thoughts on Spencer Jones? What are you doing? Go ahead.
Just don't play Battleship behind the outfield's wall, man. Those motherfuckers will be like, dropping, bombs and stuff. 470 as a double A prospect. That's pretty insane.
You're gonna need some EMTs up in the right field stands when the time comes and Jones is playing in Yankee Stadium because there are gonna be some balls hit the fans that are not gonna be ready. They ain't gonna be ready.
No.
So you know how you have Judge's chambers already? Right above that, you're going to need Jones's junction right above that because he's going to be going way up there.
No, you need to put the Jones Clinic up there. That's what it's going to be called. The Jones Emergency Room. That's exactly what it's going to be called in that second deck because in spring training, you're used to seeing like some of our prospects hit like a wall scraping home run. You're used to that. But a 470-foot bomb in spring training, I don't think Aaron Judge even did that when he was in spring training with the team.
I'll even drop a hot take for the 2025 roster advice for spring training.
Go ahead.
Kevlar water cooler. Right side by side by Spencer Jones. What does that tell you? I mean, basically, I'm not making the comp. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, don't misunderstand me. I'm not making the chat. I'm basically saying he brings that same presence as a Paul O'Neill. Those who have sat those who have sat and watched through the 90s will relate. Again, I'm just saying presence, not comparison, just the presence.
Well, Sunil, we always appreciate the notes from the wide sage of the Yankees community. Appreciate you, brother Sunil. I'll bring you down while I bring up the next person. Always got to love Sunil and his insight. And he brings up the Paul O'Neill comparison, kind of aging himself, right? I ain't going to hold that against him. But when it comes to Paul O'Neill, there's been a lot of people in camp that says that Spencer Jones, they're not comparing him as a player, like when it comes to like the stats and the attributes, but the way that he carries himself, that goes a lot. But, and these are from some of the veterans that are saying that. What's your thoughts on that real quick before we bring Jonathan up?
I mean, yeah, if we're talking as just a presence, absolutely. I think that's a soft comparison. If Yankee fans are expecting him to be the second coming, like Sunil just mentioned before, you probably shouldn't be putting that kind of pressure on a guy like Spencer Jones. O'Neill had a fantastic career, possibly Hall of Very Good. But yeah, it's great to hear those early comps. And, the one thing that I love about Paul O'Neill, it goes in his nickname, the Warrior. If Spencer Jones has that kind of warrior mentality for this team, that's the sort of player that any teammate would love to rally around for a good season.
You bring up the Warrior, you make me think about WWE and the Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna bring up
season.
I'm gonna bring up the next person. Jonathan, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know if you're ready to join us. We gonna bring up Jonathan right now. Jonathan, you fly guy. Salute to you, brother. How you feeling? How you doing? What's your thoughts?
Doing well. I think Snell is probably going to the Angels. That's my prediction. I think the Angels need him the most they need a guy. Ever since they lost Ohtani, there's no one there that excited. There's no one on the team except for Trout who excites the players. They need a sidekick for Trout. They need Blake Snell. I think he makes the most sense for Angels.
Yeah. Listen, when free agency first start, right? one of the teams that I said should be the favorites, especially if Ohtani was to leave, like he did, was Blake Snell going to the Angels. I've been saying that from the beginning. It makes a perfect sense. Mike Trout, like you said, the Angels, they haven't been able to put the starting pitching around Mike Trout and Ohtani when they were both together. Right now, you have an opportunity to go out there and get someone that you want to Cy Young. Maybe he's injury prone, but that's a risk you got to take for a team that they haven't had an ace since Weaver retired.
Jared Weaver. I honestly don't want him on the Yankees. I don't want Snell personally. I want the Yankees to keep for the drafting and their international signing bonus because they're connected to the top player in next year's signing bonus.
Yeah.
And that will be and the Yankees don't have a lot of time before they implement the draft for international signing. So these are the critical years they have to spend their money on the top players before they can't. Once the draft comes, I think I heard it's coming in 26 or something like that. They can't. It doesn't matter who they sign. They're always going to be picking at the bottom. They're not going to be picking the best players. So while you have this time and the money, you should save the money to sign the best players to make your team better going forward. And you talk about having Cole and Judge on this team. You want the players to be on this team so they can win in the World Series.
True. That's a great point. Rich, what's your thoughts on that real quick?
Oh, yeah, I agree. And as far as like Snell possibly going to the Angels, I mean, the Angels could definitely use the starting pitcher. My question would be, where does that take the Angels? Because they still have to compete with the Mariners, the Rangers, the Astros. It's a true wild, wild west in the American League. I think the Angels, without Blake Snell, is a fourth place team. With Blake Snell, is a fourth place team. They don't move. And I think the same thing kind of goes with the Giants as well. I know we're talking about the main suitors, and I believe someone just said that it's basically either Angels or Yankees here in the chat, and I don't know what report. Oh, Passon said it. So Passon says Angels or Yankees. So I don't even know if I should waste my time with the Giants, but it would make so much more sense for Snell to go to a team which either takes that team to the next level in the standings or secures a favorite in that division to win.
True.
So that's why the Yankees somewhat in that sense makes sense, but I'm kind of with Jonathan here. I really don't want to touch Blake Snell. I don't really want to touch Jordan Montgomery. If it was either or, I'd say Montgomery. I think the Yankees need to rock what they currently have. Get us to mid-June with this rotation and then add the pieces you need at that deadline. Because when mid-June comes around, that's when teams kind of know it's time to either buy or sell.
And also they have Hampton and they have Warren in the
win. I agree.
So by June, you might have Warren coming up, be your fifth starter.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of what both of you guys say, when you talk about the starting rotation, if these are the five guys that really got to go in through 1 through 5, and then you have Luke Weaver and you bring up Clayton Beeter, Will Warren, Chase Hampton, I'm solid with those guys being the guys that we start the season with. And like Rich said, at the trade deadline, if a trade is there, if it makes sense, if it presents itself, you go out there and you make that trade. Just don't force the situation. Just don't overpay when it comes to prospects or try to get a veteran pitcher that has a lot of money. Don't do that. If a trade presents itself, you go out there and you make that trade. Jonathan, last point before we bring up the next person, because I got to get ready to get out of here.
What's to tell you that playing Warren in June might not give you a better result than signing Snell now?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And here's the thing. You sign Snell, you sign Montgomery, you block that progression of those players.
Yes.
Simple as that. Are you seeing
the Yankees have so much depth. You don't need Snell.
I agree. I absolutely agree with what Jonathan's take here. I think it was beautifully said from a beautiful man. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Jonathan, my guy, like Richie said, beautiful man with a beautiful take. Copy. I'll see you Thursday. Last person to join us is our guy, Mr. Michael Caputo. Caputo.
Yes.
Let me get a thumbs up. Let me get to know that you're ready. Caputo is ready to rock. Caputo, how you feeling? How you doing? You listening to the conversation? Let us know what you want to talk about before we rock out.
Okay, yeah, Blake Snell. I think the chances are about 65% that he comes here. And I think you have to sign Blake Snell. I don't care about the draft picks or luxury tax or prospects. I just want to sign this guy, get it all with, and I want a quick fix. I just want them to win a World Series now because It's all about winning now. It's 2024. You got Soto for one purpose, and that's to win a World Series this season. I'm not looking at 25, 26, 27. I'm looking at this season. And if it's to sacrifice, you got to sacrifice. And I think Blake Snell makes them an instant World Series favorite. I even dare say they're probably a bigger favorite than the Los Angeles Dodgers. So you got to go out and get Blake Snell to win. So that's my take on that. And I don't know, but all these stories, John Heyman, Jeff Passan, I don't know what to believe, but I'm going to give this till Friday. That's my set deadline. If he doesn't sign deadline by Friday, I think it's off the table, and I think they have to just trade for Cease or Beaver.
What's your thoughts on that? 1 second, Rich. And of course, the Caputo deadline of this Friday, March 1st. Be there or be square.
Pencil it in. Pencil it in. Well, here's the thing, Caputo. Like, no one else is making these moves as well. So it's either the Yankees jump on it, but it's no one's in the conversation. That's what the craziest thing of this whole Snell conversation is. It's Giants and Angels are kicking the tires on it. The Yankees are the only team at this point that we know have an offer out to Blake Snell. Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't scream a pitcher I need right now. If everyone doesn't want this guy, I'll make a comparison for you, Caputo. Do you remember Robbie Ray?
Yeah,
Robbie Ray in the 2021 season for the American League won the Cy Young. He entered the free agency as a 30-year-old free agent with a career 4 ERA. Blake Snell is entering free agency, is in free agency, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner with a career 3.20 ERA. What has happened to baseball? Because Robbie Ray signed November of that year, right after he was given the award, and we're still February 27, and this guy isn't signed. What the hell is going on with Major League Baseball, guys?
No, I agree.
And Rich, it's not like there's not extra wild cards, because there's extra opportunities for teams to try to sneak into the postseason as a wild card. Even if you were to sneak in as a wild card, you still get access to that postseason revenue that comes in towards your team. So that right there gives you an incentive to go out there and sign a guy like Blake Snell. But that's why I'm so frustrated, Rich, because it's February 27. The Yankees are like the #1 favorite team. To us fans, on paper, it doesn't make sense because of the money, because of the years, because of the draft compensation, because of the international money, and because of the pool of talent that's going to be available next year when you look at starting pitching and international free agent prospects as well. So it just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, this free agency, this offseason didn't really make sense that much either. Caputo, I see you had your hand up. Go ahead, bro.
Another thing why, I want Snell. I'm so up and down with this guy. I wanted him. I didn't want him. Like my thoughts change with this guy kind of a lot. But note one thing: when there was the COVID season, and it was a 60-game season, he said, "I got to get mine," and he didn't care about all those people passing away with COVID. All he cared about was his money. And that kind of really turned me off when he said that, because that was a crisis, what we went through. And he was thinking about one thing himself, wasn't thinking about people dying. And that kind of, when I saw that video, I got really, really like turned off by that.
Yeah.
I know that was like years ago, and maybe he's matured, but I'm sure he's good. He's good in the clubhouse, but that's the type of play he's going to be when he comes to the Yankees. That I'm not feeling him like that, but it's all about winning a World Series. But I didn't like that what he said about getting mine. I got to get mine. And then remember the comments he made about the Yankees when he was with the Rays, saying that he wants to beat the Yankees every time. Oh, we celebrate that much more when we beat the Yankees. Remember he made those comments when he was on the Rays?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a little bit of a cocky guy, but I want to go. Friday's the deadline for me. If he doesn't make a decision Friday, it's over.
I see what you're saying, right? And much respect also, the money situation, I think that was like had to do more of like the negotiating for the season, because you're a major league player, you're going into your season, you have a contract for that year, you're supposed to get paid X amount of money. MLB was trying to lowball the players, and perfect example of that, some leaked audio came out about Blake Snell. First thing happened was fans turned on the players instead of the owners who was trying to shortchange the players. But I see what you're saying about the expectation. I mean, about the mentality, if he's all about the money or all about winning. But you got to ask yourself, if he was all about the money, and if there was a reported contract from the Giants or he would have took that. He would have took that. But if you're him, do you want to go to the Angels that have been in purgatory for so long? Do you want to go to the Giants and have to deal with the Dodgers for so many years? I'm not too sure. Caputo, I'm gonna let you go, my guy. I'm gonna throw it over to Rich to get your takes on what Caputo had to say. Caputo, I see you on Thursday, brother. Go ahead, Rich.
I think what Caputo's emotions are kind of encapsulate a good portion of Yankee fans right now. There's you don't know how you truly feel about a player. It's a day-to-day thing. So with Blake Snell, my question here, Hector, I'll turn it around this way.
Go ahead.
How would Yankee Universe handle it if there was never a reported offer to begin with for Blake Snell?
That's like it's nothing. I wouldn't have give a rat's ass, honestly.
No,
I'd be like, yeah,
exactly.
he's not.
It's the tease that there was a possibility that this guy can land in pinstripe, which has made us all crazy Yankee fans, and all of a sudden want Blake Snell. Did anybody in the chat want Blake Snell prior to this offseason beginning? Anyone?
No.
No, I don't think so. And if you're saying you're lying. I'm simple as that. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to call you out, but like that's the case. Like we all obviously the plan was Soto, Yamamoto. You got Soto, you didn't get Yamamoto. You had a pivot. You pivot towards Stroman. You did a good job doing it. I think this is a fine team to do it.
Yeah, I think coming into the offseason, I think every Yankee fan, and like you said, if you disagree, you're lying through your teeth. I think every Yankee fan, they had that mindset on Yamamoto, that's it. But guys, we got to go start getting ready to wrap things up momentarily. We still got 50 people in the building rocking with us. I just seen one comment, NYY Original said, the boss wasted no time in getting who he wanted. Too much when it comes to sowing bull. I know what you mean when it comes to BS. The one thing I'm going to say about that, right, and I'm going to get Rich's take on this, is the last thing we're going to dip out, right? When it comes to George Steinbrenner, the luxury tax that's in 2024, they didn't have that back when George Steinbrenner was spending all this money. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't get George Steinbrenner here right now, but I'm pretty sure George Steinbrenner, the businessman, would have an issue giving money to the Tampa Bay Rays, the same Tampa Bay Rays that he had an issue with because of his relationships with the city of Tampa. I think George Steinbrenner will have an issue with luxury tax going to pay for the salary and payroll of the Oakland Athletics when they don't pay money into their team. I think George Steinbrenner, the businessman, will have an issue when it comes to that and how the luxury tax is in 2024, because it's totally different than what it was in the 90s and in the 80s. Rich, what's your final thoughts on that?
So many different changes to the game and how players are transacted, and obviously the luxury tax. There's a crazy limit right now that I'm curious how George would have gone around that. I think he would have stayed within the parameters. I mean, I feel like it's almost hereditary. Listen, Hal's done that kind of job. He's tried to stay under the 297 for this long. I think the fan backlash has really made him kind of turn favor now, and he's willing to go over it, but obviously not exponentially. It would have been an interesting scenario if George had to deal with the Lux tax back then. But I also like player contracts are so different. Look at a guy like Alex Rodriguez, who made his money after that 2007 MVP, his second MVP, made $25 million per year for the next 10 years. Alex Rodriguez, generational talent, third baseman, premium position. So much has changed in the game as far as money, and it only takes one player too, Hector. Yamamoto, Ohtani, in tandem, changed the game for a pitcher earning that kind of money. So, and again, next year it's going to reset again with Juan Soto. So it's a very interesting game. It's awesome to kind of see in a way like how this is transitioned for all these years. But yeah, as far as George with luxury tax is concerned, I think it had been an interesting scenario. I think he would have stayed within the 297.
You said A-Rod in 2007 got that contract extension, $25 million. That was a historic contract. That was an historic AAV. In 2007, people were saying A-Rod had a trajectory of breaking Barry Bonds, 700 home runs, and a Hall of Fame career. 25. Cody Bellinger just signed for $26 million. Just put that into perspective, so you know that contracts in 2024 are way different than contracts in just 2007, and that's not even far. That's the year I graduated high school. Thank you for aging me, Rich. Now I feel a little bit older. But Rich, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, brother. Like always, I love linking up and doing these with you. I threw out the back signal. I literally just texted Rich a back signal, and he already knew what the message was.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, Hector. Again, always love hopping on. Bat signal or not, it's always a great time. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Great chat today. It was electric. Great panel as well. And I got to shout out the guys over Empire State of Baseball. My guys, Corey Favs, Joe Puglisi, Tom Waspel. We are back to weekly episodes starting this Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Through the playoffs. We're going to be doing it every single Monday. So make sure to tune in. We got a March Madness tournament coming up this Monday. Nice. We're going to break down which team has the best set of jerseys. Like currently with Fanatics and Nike, the answer is none. But we're just going to go based off of design, artwork, all that good stuff. So come on down. Mondays, 8 o'clock p.m. starting this Monday, March the 4th. Empire State of Baseball. Give us a follow at ESP Podcast on X.
Rich, my brother, appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate everybody for rocking out with us. A1 since day one. My guy TC Still and I will be back this Thursday morning. And like I said, next week we will be in spring training covering Yankees spring training. So if you're in Tampa, hit us up. We're going to have multiple Yankee streams next week. So we're coming back heavy with the baseball contact. Until next time, drink your water, say something nice, and like always, deuces.